UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Buckley. Here's my experience.
I see my haters proud of me now. When I'm around, it's all smiles. I took over my whole town.
This video would have been out a while ago, but my voice was absolutely shot. I mean, take a listen to this. UFC Fight Night, Buckley versus Covington. Here's my experience. I sound like shit. But the first fight of the night I want to talk about, we're going to skip past the first 4 decision fights of the night. That was pretty good. The Felipe Lima versus Michael John fight was actually really good. But the first fight of the night I want to talk about is Mr. Sean Woodson versus Fernando Padilla. Sean Woodson absolutely stayed on the outside and landed what looked to be not too powerful strikes, but apparently they was able to get Padilla out of there by the end of the first round. The next fight of the night was even better in my opinion. You had Mr. Joel Alvarez versus Jakar Klaus, and Joel Alvarez put on an absolute clinic of striking. He was able to pick apart Jakar Klaus on the feet, and it wasn't close. It looked like Joel Alvarez was faster, stronger, and hit way harder than Jakar Klaus, and he was able to get a flying knee finish and hold him up with one hand and punch him with the other hand and get the finish by TKO knockout. And Joel Alvarez is finally in the top 15 of lightweight. And I cannot wait to see what 2025 has in store for him. After that, we had a savvy veteran who has really dominant dynamite knockout power, Mr. Michael Johnson versus Adamant Azitar. Probably said his name wrong, my bad, I'm sorry. But Michael Johnson showed that he still has one of the best right hooks in all of the UFC and all of MMA and all of combat sports. How many more fights Michael Johnson has, I have no idea, but I know I will be tuned in whenever I see his name on the marquee. And probably the most disappointing fight of the night, we had Mr. Navajo Sterling versus Tuco Tacos. Now, I'm not saying it was a disappointing performance by Sterling because he didn't get the finish, but it was the way he fought, in my opinion. I thought we was going to see a high-pressure, action-packed fight, but he stayed kind of reserved, and he stayed outside. He dominated the fight. I'm not taking anything away from the performance, but it's not really what I expected to see the way he got into the UFC off of Dana White Contender Series. In the prelim main event, we had Mr. Daniel Marcos versus Adrian Yanez. It was a real fun fight, real technical fight. There's a lot of fouls in it, which kind of threw me off a little bit, but it is what it is. He did enough to win the fight. Adrian Yanez looked fantastic. I don't feel like this is a fight where he loses any type of stock, so good scrap. Opening up the main card, we had a striker versus a grappler, and Dustin Jacoby's patience paid off because he was able to absolutely floor Mr. Vitor Petrino in the third round with a dynamite of a right hand. It looked exactly like Jorge Masvidal lost against Kamaru Usman. Look at them side by side. Tell me that's not the same thing. Probably the most fluid fight of the night, and I say that as in terms of Manel Kape just was in a flow state. It looked like the entire fight. Manel Kape was absolutely faster than Bruno Silva, and he looked like he just had the timing down for anything Bruno Silva wanted to throw, wanted to do. It looked like Manel Kape just beat him there. There's a lot of fouls in this fight too, and in the finisher sequence, it might have been a foul. Might have just been a cheap kick to the stomach, but we'll never know. I'm not too mad about it. I mean, Bruno Silva kicked Manel Kape square in the nuts a couple of times, so if it did kick me in the nuts back at the end of the fight, it is what it is. Will Manel Kape get a title shot in 2025? That is yet to be seen. Dana White said that's not the next fight he's getting, so we're just gonna have to wait and find out what the next flyweight title shot is. Manel Kape looked damn good to end his 2024. In the co-main event of the night, we had another older fighter, an OG of UFC, WEC vet, UFC vet. We had Mr. Cub Swanson taking on Billy Quarantillo. Cub Swanson, it was a real fun fight. It was a good fight. I had it 2-0 Billy Q going into the third, but I mean, that really doesn't matter the way that Cub Swanson ended the fight. 1-2 straight down the middle, head bounced off the canvas, the fight's over. Fantastic vintage performance from Cub Swanson. He said he has one more fight in him. Can we see a rematch with Doo Ho Choi? That would be an absolute banger in my opinion. Cub Swanson looked really good this time out at UFC Tampa. What did you guys think? Let me know. In the main event of the night, we had Hakeem Buckley versus Colby Covington. Hakeem Buckley dominated. Absolutely dominated. I don't want to hear anything different. Colby Covington has been lying to himself, and whatever fans he does have, he's been lying to you. There's no way in hell that fight was 1-1. Hakeem Buckley was absolutely dominating that fight. He was fresh and he was ready for more. He said he started to fade. He did not start to fade anywhere, I promise you. Hakeem Buckley like he was ready for 10 5-minute rounds. It would look like he was going nowhere. And Hakeem Buckley, I'm mad that they stopped that fight. I'm mad that the doctor stopped that fight because I wholeheartedly believe Buckley was going to stop that man from physically moving with his hands and feet. And it was going to be a very violent finish. And that would have made me very happy. But what did you guys think about the event? Let me know down below. Like always, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Be good people. Peace.